Did you know that open-world games are getting absolutely insane in 2025? From massive fantasy kingdoms to dystopian wastelands, we're seeing everything from ultra-realistic survival simulators to chaotic anime-fueled pirate adventures. Here are 20 open-world games, new and upcoming, that are blowing up right now, and trust me, you're gonna want to check these out. This one's shaping up to be one of the most ambitious open-world games in years. Crimson Desert drops you into a gritty, beautifully chaotic medieval fantasy world, and you're not a hero, just a mercenary trying to survive. The scale is wild. One moment you're riding across wine-swept plains, the next you're skydiving off a dragon mid-battle. Yeah, it's like that. The open world, massive and alive. Towns bustle, weather shifts, enemies don't just wait around for you. They live in this world. From solo sword duels to full-blown battles with armies and creatures, it looks like a blend of Witcher 3, Black Desert, and some Elden Ring level chaos. Honestly, I didn't expect to be hyped for this one at first, but every trailer has been nuts in the best way. If they nail the feel of the world, make it really feel like a place you want to get lost in, this could be the biggest open-world surprise of the year. If you're looking for a grounded open-world experience with no magic, no dragons, and no Chosen One prophecy, this is it. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 throws you back into medieval Bohemia where life is hard, dirty, and painfully real. You're Henry, a blacksmith's son, not some legendary warrior. You get hungry, you bleed. You mess up sword swings, and it's awesome. The open world here doesn't scream at you with explosions or glowing markers, it breathes. Villages feel lived in, NPCs have routines, and your choices ripple through politics, religion, and relationships. It's less about saving the world and more about surviving in it. Personally, I love how the game doesn't hold your hand. You learn to fight properly, navigate dialogue carefully, and read maps like you're actually in the 1400s. It's slower, sure, but that's exactly the point. If you want immersion over spectacle, this one delivers. Welcome back to space capitalism at its weirdest. The Outer Worlds 2 takes the humor, charm, and chaos of the first game and launches it into a brand new star system, the Arcadia system. You're still stuck between greedy megacorps, clueless colonists, and morally gray choices, just with bigger guns and shinier planets. The open world here doesn't try to be massive for the sake of it. Instead, it's dense with personality. Think handcrafted planets full of absurd NPCs, branching quests, and those that just happen, moments only Obsidian can deliver. What I love most is how Outer Worlds lets you play your way. Want to be a sweet-talking idiot with a hammer? Do it. A stealthy sniper who lies for fun, also valid. This sequel seems like it's doubling down on that player freedom, and honestly, I'm here for it. In a sea of serious sci-fi, The Outer Worlds feels like a fresh, sarcastic breath of air. Launching exclusively on PlayStation 5 this October 2nd, Ghost of Yōtei picks up centuries after Ghost of Tsushima and steps into a slightly more modern era, but the soul of the series is still intact. You play as Atsu, a new warrior with his own demons, walking a path that echoes Jin Sakai but carves out something different. The open world, if it's anything like what we've seen, it's going to be another love letter to Japan. Misty mountains, bamboo forests, abandoned shrines. It's less about ticking checkboxes and more about soaking in every silent detail. That kind of world doesn't rush you, it invites you to pause. What really hooks me is the mystery. Will it lean more into traditional samurai honor? Or will it blend in more fantastical, maybe even Sekiro-like elements? We don't know yet, and that's exciting. All I know is if Ghost of Yōtei can hit even half the emotional notes of its predecessor, it's going to be something worth remembering. You thought Kyle Crane was gone? Think again. Dying Like the Beast, set to release on August 22nd, 2025, brings him back 13 years after brutal experimentation that turned him into something not quite human. Now he's stronger, darker, and way more terrifying. Oh, and he's got a grappling hook and beast powers. Let that sink in. The open world here feels like it's pushing the series forward in a big way. Parkour still front and center, rooftops, alleyways, sewers, verticality everywhere. But the world itself seems more dynamic, more reactive. It's not just surviving the night anymore, it's about owning it. Personally, I'm really into this darker twist. Dying Light has always been about momentum and desperation, but now it feels personal. Revenge is a great motivator, and with Kyle unleashed, the line between human and monster gets blurrier than ever. If they land the tone and keep the gameplay tight, this could be the most intense entry yet. Imagine Stalker, Fallout, and a bit of BioShock had an awkward, radioactive love child. That's basically Atomfall. The game officially launched on March 27, 2025, and it's already turning heads with its unique British take on post-apocalyptic survival. Set in an alternate 1960 to Britain, 5 years after a nuclear disaster, this game drops you into a quarantined countryside crawling with mutated wildlife, unhinged cults, and just enough paranoia to make you question every tree rustle. What stands out to me is the atmosphere. This isn't your typical bombed-out cityscape. It's eerie, damp English farmlands slowly being eaten by radiation and secrets. You'll craft, survive, explore, and uncover the truth behind what really happened. And yeah, apparently the government's definitely hiding something. Personally, this one grabbed me because it feels freshly familiar. It's got the bones of games I love: survival, exploration, moral choices, but dressed in a new, very British code of dread. If you like quiet tension and slow-burning stories, Atomfall might be your sleeper hit of 2025. Feudal Japan, ninjas, samurai. You already know this one's been a long time coming, and now it's finally here. Assassin's Creed Shadows officially launched on March 20th, 2025, and it's already making waves as one of the most stylish, story-driven entries in the series. You'll step into the shoes of two very different protagonists: Neo, a stealthy ninja with the classic AC toolkit, and Yasuke, a real-life historical samurai who brings brute strength and presence to the story. The dual-character dynamic promises gameplay variety, sneaky rooftops or full-on sword duels, totally your call. The open world, gorgeous, obviously from snowy mountains to war-torn villages, Ubisoft's world building is still top tier. What surprised me most is how balanced it feels, not overloaded with icons, but still rich with secrets. If you've been waiting for the Assassin's Creed that finally does Japan justice, this might be it. From the creators of No Man's Sky comes something that feels oddly more grounded, and somehow even more ambitious. Light No Fire still doesn't have an official release date, and based on what the developers have said, we likely won't see it before 2026, but that hasn't stopped people from talking about it. Instead of a galaxy full of planets, you get a single, procedurally generated world the size of Earth. Yeah, let that sink in. Towering mountains, deep valleys, massive cave systems, ancient ruins, all seamlessly explorable. No loading screens, no shortcuts. If you can see it, you can reach it. To me, it feels like Valheim meets Breath of the Wild, with a sandbox soul and a sense of skill we've never seen before. It's not about racing through quests, it's about getting lost in a world that's yours to shape. And honestly, I'm okay waiting a little longer. It means Light No Fire truly becomes the next big leap in open world exploration. Yeah, it's loud, yeah, it's ridiculous. And yes, it's back. Borderlands 4 officially launched on September 23, 2025, and this time, it's all about going bigger, weirder, and way more open. For the first time in the series, we've got a fully seamless open world, no loading screens, just chaos from one end of the map to the other. Gearbox promised they'd dial back the over-the-top humor a bit. It's still funny, but a little darker, a little sharper, the gunplay tighter than ever. Grappling hooks, gliders, new enemy types, and a whole bunch of weapons that do stuff you didn't even know you wanted. What I love most, it actually feels like a living world now. Towns you can explore, NPCs that react to your choices, and a story that, somehow, has heart under all the gunfire and explosions. If you've ever loved Borderlands but wanted it to grow up just a bit, this might be the one that finally gets the balance right. If The Witcher 3 took a trip to ancient China, this is probably what it'd look like. Where Wines Meet is already out in China and expected to release globally later in 2025, and it's one of the most visually striking martial arts open-world games we've seen in a long time. Set during the chaotic 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period, you're not just a wandering swordsman, you can also be a doctor, a merchant, or even a politician. The world responds to what you do, and that alone makes it stand out. It's not just about combat, it's about influence. What pulls me in is the elegance. The combat feels fast, fluid, and cinematic, but the world, it's poetic. Fields of tall grass, misty temples, narrow village streets filled with tension. There's something quiet beneath all the flash. If it can stick the landing on story and world interaction, Where Wines Meet could be a new classic for anyone who's ever wanted to live out their wuxia fantasy. Sometimes a game just feels different. Hell Is Us launched on September 4, 2025, and while it flew under the radar for many, it's quietly become one of the most intriguing open-world titles of the year. You play as Remy, a former UN peacekeeper who goes AWOL and returns to his homeland, a country torn apart by civil war and haunted by otherworldly creatures called Hollow Walkers. Modern weapons don't work on them, so you're stuck with ancient blades, raw instincts, and a burning desire for answers. The open world is fragmented, tense, and eerily quiet at times. It doesn't overwhelm you with icons or quests. It lets curiosity and emotion guide you. That's rare. For me, Hell Is Us feels like if Spec Ops: The Line had a baby with Dark Souls and Death Stranding. It's moody, mysterious, and deeply personal. Not everyone will vibe with it, and that's okay. But if you're into games that feel like they're saying something, this one's worth your time. Launched in early 2025, Monster Hunter Wilds roared onto PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC, and honestly, it might be the most accessible and most intense entry in the series so far. Think Monster Hunter World, but faster, more vertical, and way more dynamic. The monsters are smarter, the environments shift in real time, and weather can literally change the outcome of a hunt. You're not just tracking a beast, you're reading the wind, the sky, the terrain. Every fight is a story. What surprised me most is how it balances depth with approachability. Whether you're a hardcore hunter or a total newbie, Wilds gives you room to grow without holding your hand too much. Personally, I loved how alive the world feels. It's not just background, it's part of the challenge. If you've ever wanted to get into the series but felt overwhelmed, this is your moment, and if you're already a veteran, well, get ready for a real test. Released in late 2025, Exoborne takes a bold swing at post-apocalyptic open-world design, and it's got just enough Death Stranding energy to feel weird in all the right ways. Set in a fractured United States torn apart by extreme weather and global collapse, you play as a survivor armed with a customizable exo-rig. Think grappling hooks, heavy armor, wild loadouts, and then toss in sandstorms, twisters, and floods that completely reshape how you move through the world. The open world isn't just massive, it's reactive. It fights back. Your route today might be underwater tomorrow. That tension between freedom and survival really hooked me. And let's be real, this feels like what Anthem could have been if it leaned into grit instead of gloss. If you want a game where every journey feels earned, and every battle is shaped by a world that's actively trying to kill you, Exoborne is worth strapping in for. While it still doesn't have an official release date, Project the Perceiver is already giving Sekiro fans heart palpitations in a good way. Fast combat, philosophical storytelling, and a mask-swapping mechanic that's basically what if your personality had DLC. Yeah, it's that kind of game. You play as the master of varied editors, someone who can literally switch ideals and fighting styles by wearing different masks. It sounds deep, and honestly, it kinda is. But it's also just super cool to change your whole combat flow mid-fight like you're auditioning for 5 Wuxian movies at once. The open world, straight up gorgeous, misty mountains, burning villages, ancient shrines, everything feels painted with purpose. Personally, I love how the game looks like it's trying to challenge both your reflexes and your worldview. Plus, let's be honest, who wouldn't want to cosplay their inner philosophical crisis while doing backflips with a sword? If Project the Perceiver delivers what it promises, this might be the most poetic power trip of the year. The Precinct was officially released on May 13, 2025, delivering a nostalgic, neon-soaked love letter to classic cop dramas, with a modern open-world twist. Set in a crime-ridden 1980s American city called Averno, you play as rookie officer Nick Cordell Jr., tasked with restoring law and order while navigating a city full of gritty back alleys, high-speed chases, and moral ambiguity. Think Miami Vice meets GTA, but from a top-down perspective with dynamic city simulation. What really caught my attention is the procedural crime system. Crime spawn naturally, citizens react realistically, and you're free to patrol, pursue, or just park in the shadows with a donut and coffee. No judgment. Honestly, it feels like the kind of sandbox where chaos is just one siren away. If you've ever wanted to roleplay as a 1980s action cop without the actual danger, the Precinct might be your jam. Ballad of Antara is expected to launch in late 2025, and yes, it's a free-to-play Souls-like. I know that sentence sounds like it shouldn't exist, but somehow it kinda works. Think Genshin Impact, but with a darker tone, weightier combat, and fewer anime giggles. The world is beautiful and bleak, with everything from crumbling temples to frozen wastelands, the kind of open world that dares you to explore, even when you know you're probably about to die a very dramatic death. What makes it interesting for me is that it feels like a real action RPG, not just a gacha trap in disguise. There's verticality, boss variety, and a mysterious tone that feels more Elden Ring-like than mobile cash grab. That said, it's still free to play, so yeah, I've got one eyebrow raised. If the monetization stays fair and the world keeps pulling you in, Ballad of Antara could end up being the rare Souls-like that respects both your time and your wallet. Gothic 1 Remake is expected to launch on PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series XS sometime in 2025 or 2026, and for fans of the original cult classic, this is more than just a glow-up, it's a full resurrection. Built from the ground up with modern visuals and reworked mechanics, it promises to bring the harsh, unforgiving charm of the 2001 version into the current gen. You play as a nameless prisoner dumped into a magically sealed penal colony, where survival means choosing a faction, earning respect, and not getting stabbed for looking at someone the wrong way. It's brutal, it's political, and it's very, very European. What makes this remake exciting for me is the potential to keep that raw, scrappy identity, the weird dialogue, the janky charm, while giving it the fluidity and polish it never had back then. If they pull it off, Gothic 1 Remake might not just be a nostalgia trip. It could be one of the boldest open-world RPGs of the year. Terminator Survivors is expected to launch first via Steam Early Access on PC in 2025, with console releases coming later. And let's be real, who hasn't wanted a proper open-world survival game set in the Terminator universe? Set shortly after Judgment Day, you're not John Connor or a T-800, you're just a regular survivor trying to stay alive in a world crawling with killer machines. Build bases, scavenge parts, form alliances, and pray you don't hear that metallic stomp to close to camp. What excites me is the co-op. You can team up with up to 4 players to defend against Skynet patrols, raid resource zones, or just run screaming when things go sideways. And yeah, they will go sideways. To me, this feels like Fallout meets Aliens Fireteam Elite, but grimmer, colder, and with a lot more chrome. If they get the tension and pacing right, Terminator survivors might finally give us the post-apocalyptic robot survival experience we've all been secretly waiting for. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach officially launched on PlayStation 5 on June 26, 2025. And yeah, it's exactly as weird and fascinating as you'd expect from a Hideo Kojima sequel. You're once again stepping into the boots of Sam Porter Bridges, or what's left of him, to trek across a broken, surreal America haunted by timefall rain, ghost babies, singing whales, and probably metaphorical umbrellas. But this time, the world feels even more twisted, more aware of your presence. The open world remains vast and lonely, but there's more emphasis on group survival and connection, not just through asynchronous multiplayer, but through narrative. And did I mention Troy Baker is apparently playing a villain with rockstar energy and clown makeup? Because of course he is. For me, Death Stranding 2 is less about fun and more about vibes. It's meditation wrapped in madness. You don't just play this game, you carry it, sometimes literally. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn is expected to release on July 18, 2025, and it's shaping up to be the kind of gritty, combo-heavy, gunpowder-fueled action RPG that might sneak up on a lot of people in the best way. You play as Norvanek, a soldier armed with both axe and flintlock, fighting to close the door to the afterlife after the gods decided to rudely walk back in. Oh, and you're partnered with a magical fox cat creature named Enki who can blink around like Nightcrawler and drop cosmic bombs. Totally normal stuff. What really hooks me here is the movement. It's fast, fluid, and surprisingly vertical. Dodging, blasting, and chaining attacks feels Sekiro-light with a dash of Devil May Cry flair. The open world isn't enormous, but it's dense with secrets and combat challenges. For players who love action RPGs, but don't want 100-hour commitments, Flintlock might just be the perfect mid-sized mayhem. I'm watching this one closely. Enki already stole my heart and probably my lunch. And that's the list, 20 open-world adventures ranging from post-apocalyptic chaos to philosophical kung fu with magical foxes. Honestly, my brain needs a map marker just to remember them all. Some of these games made me want to fight gods, others made me want to cry under a tree and question my life choices looking at you, Kojima. But one thing's clear, 2025 is gonna be wild for open world fans. If you found a game here that you're hyped about, or just enjoyed the ride, drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. It costs you nothing, but it makes my day 10% more epic. Maybe 12% if you comment too. See you in the next quest, and hey, don't forget to save often.
Yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning.